Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers, Season 3. As today, the Raiders find themselves in the wooded village of Westerhalls, a place populated by experienced hunters and woodsmen, all of whom are sadly outside of our current price range. And thus the call went out for any idiot willing to stand on the front line for 100 gold or less. And behold, one has risen to answer the call. A big greater welcome to Annie Idiot. Perhaps a bit on the nose, and there are some suspicions that they may actually be a grieving widow with nothing left to live for, as opposed to a local laborer in need of coin. But they were also willing to work for 90 gold and have halfway decent stats, so, you know, the Raiders aren't ones to judge. Plus, I think pretty much anyone willing to join an outfit like this one has a bit of a death wish. Though we have avoided actual death thus far, but, you know, it won't last. More seriously, their stats aren't actually that bad, considering how cheap they were. Bit of a shame about that 3-star placement in Resolve. The starting value is just too low to really get much use out of that. I mean, both of our anatomists currently serving as our Bannerman and Bannerman backup are already over 50. Aside from that, the rest of our gold went towards a little food and a couple of stacks of quality lumber, just to eke out a little extra coin once we get up north. And rest goes towards payroll. And yes, since we are indeed headed north, we might as well make some coin while doing it. Hopefully we'll find some better prices up north, because we are still sucking fumes on tools. Medical supplies too, but, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Alright, Raiders, that's enough chatter. Let's get these tongues a-wagging. And off we go. Nice. New rep quest procced, and oh, we've got a couple of good ones here. Contract completion's an easy one to finish. And we're doing contracts right now anyway, but it's also a mite bit time consuming, so this one, forging our banner, is probably preferable. Especially since it would give us a pretty solid upgrade for Rook. We'll go with the banner. With any luck, we should be able to get that one done pretty quick. Though again, it really will come down to the RNG, what sort of fights we see en route, what sort of contracts we get once we're up there, etc. You find Random the Wild Man stacking his crowns into towers. He leans back from his moneyed manifestations with a wide grin, but then suddenly launches forward, knocking the towers over like a child would their blocks. He laughs maniacally as the coins scatter. The man playing with his money is a curious sight. Perhaps the Wild Man has no real conception of what crowns are good for? If so, maybe you could take them back? Well, you know, far be it for me to take advantage of one of the Raiders, but mayhaps a trade? Different people value different things. You crouch down. Hey there, Random. Mind if I take one of these? Carefully, you pick up a coin and measure the Wild Man's reaction. He shrugs and grunts as if to say, "It's yours." You take another crown and then another. The Wild Man glares at you, but you slowly produce a stick with a frilly bow tied to the top. Its whirly nature captures the Wild Man's eye. When he reaches for it, you draw it back and shake your head. You then point at the crowns and then at the stick. One for the other, yeah? The Wild Man looks at his crowns, mulling them over like an accountant. But you know his thoughts are far more chaotic than that. Suddenly, he growls and pushes his crowns forward and takes the stick away from you. Looks like the trade is done. Good thing, too. We actually needed that to make payroll. I may have overspent a bit back in Westerhalls. Thank you very much, Random. Your service is appreciated. Oh. And we are on. We've got Barbarian Thralls and a single Barbarian Reaver. Which might be bad news, but to those who are about to die, etc., etc. The caw of birds, the rustle of brush. The caravan guards peer about warily, the raiders on high alert. When suddenly, a brutish bevy of barbarians burst from the underbrush, hooting and hollering savage war cries. The raiders are nonplussed, but quickly regroup as Rook steps up gamely, Warforged poised and ready to meet their charge. A quick thrust and he pierces the arm of a would-be warrior, dashing a throwing axe from his grip. Arrow takes swift aim, but he's not yet accustomed to his new bow. The shot goes wide. Before anyone can stop them, Annie charges recklessly into the enemy line. Eerie is quick to pursue, moving up on Annie's flank, and driving his spear into another barbarian's thigh. Rev steps up next. The anatomist's pinning him like an oversized bug. Random leaps in next, inspired by Annie's surprising savagery. And Verlin completes the line. The raiders stand strong, braced for what's to come. Savage strikes tear at leather and limb. And yet the raiders still stand strong. Rook calmly surveys the battlefield, and with another precise thrust, fells the savage axe thrower, leaving a gap in the barbarian's line. And he finds their footing, flail whirling. Two more clumsy strikes and another barbarian falls. A particularly towering brute looms on the northern flank. Here he turns to meet them. Two thrusts of his spear, both turned aside by his primitive bone armor. Reverend's pitchfork goes wide. The rest of the raiders continue to batter their respective foes. Arrow once again takes aim, but his shot goes wide as well, which might be a problem, but I guess we'll see how that turns out. Perhaps I should have shield bashed him back. Annie wavers. Ooh. And Rev takes a crushing blow to the leg. Fortunately, just a bad sprain and not an actual shattered bone. Arrow takes aim. And gouges a bloody furrow across the Reaver's scalp. Rook steps up next, shredding the Reaver's primitive armor. Oh, so close. Here he strikes twice more. The brute stumbles on the brink of defeat. Annie's flail whirls chaotically. Another barbarian falls. And Revenant, thrown off balance by his wounded leg, is unable to land a strike. The rest of the raiders rally to his defense, but Will they get there in time? Alright, Rook. Come on. You got this. Oh, no, you don't. You don't got this. But we're good. Okay. Arrow. Stepping past the haplessly hobbling halberdier, Arrow finally fells the bloodied barbarian. The rest of the raiders rally, savagely beating down their foes. Whew. Almost lost our first raider there. And really, I've got no one to blame but myself. Really should have played it a mite bit more defensively, forced that guy back with Erie's shield, and pulled Rev to a safer distance. I was just really hedging my bets on landing a lucky headshot. But, you know, we made it through. Got some supplies, got a nice new headpiece for Random, some barbarian baubles. All's well that ends well. The raiders live to see another day. Some slightly worse for wear than others. Here you go, Random. I felt a bit bad about that first deal we brokered, so this should hopefully make amends. And Annie, gotta say, not bad for your first outing. Sadly, not much else here of use, but should at least make some halfway decent sales fodder. And on we go. Oh. We have a second. Oh, goodness. Brigands incoming. Ah, no, they're going to fall back. I actually wouldn't mind if they attacked. I think we could probably have pulled some decent gear off those guys. Though for now, Helvik awaits. You've made it, having delivered the caravan just as you'd promised Elmer of Westerholz you would. The caravan leader thanks you with a payment of crowns. He seems rather thankful for the fact that he's alive, briefly regaling you with a tale of when he barely escaped an ambush by brigands. You nod as if you give two shits about what's happened to this man. Oh, come now. A little customer service never killed anyone. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't think we're getting good prices here. Not with the myriad of conditions currently facing Helvik. About half of these are actually positive. Collectors looking for beast trophies, which we don't have. Well supplied, which does reduce prices, but then rated and under repairs raise them again. So yeah, not gonna do much in the way of serious trading here, not unless we can fix any of this plethora of problems. Ooh, a cultist and a beast slayer. I think I've actually got requests for both. But obviously we can't afford them just yet. We'll hold off on that, and we'll get a gander at these contracts. Though first, I see we've got a barber. One sec. And we're back. A quick trip to the barber shop, and we've got Arrow Bowman now rocking a fine new goatee to help gauge wind direction and speed. RandomPassrby got a long overdue bath, shocking the rest of the raiders with the reveal that his hair is in fact red, not dirty blonde. No one's entirely sure how that worked, but he beat the poor barber senseless before we could ask too many questions. And amidst all that turmoil, Annie walked out with a full beard, putting to rest any suspicions that they may in fact be a late farmer's wife. Looking for vengeance in all the wrong places. Love is a battlefield, and some never truly leave it. Now turning our attention back to Helvik. We've got a whole bunch of problems, but unfortunately only one we can actually address. The first contract's a caravan run, so obviously we're not going for that one. But we will take the other one. That, at least, should hopefully up the recruit pool. Adler the Guildmaster is looking out his window when you find him. There's a goblet in his hand, and there's nothing but silence outside. He turns to you, almost somber. When you came here, did you realize how quiet it was? You remark that you did, but you're a sellsword who looks the part. It's just what you're accustomed to. Adler the Guildmaster nods and takes a drink. Ah, of course. Unfortunately, it isn't that people are afraid of you, and not this time. We have had people being attacked these past weeks. Beasts of some sort are on the loose. We know not what they are, but only who they take. We pleaded with our lord, of course, but he has done nothing to help us. His next drink is a long one. When he finishes, he turns to you, empty cup in hand. Would you hunt these monsters down? Please, sellsword. Help us. Plagued by beasts, you say? You know what? I think we might just be able to come to some sort of arrangement. He nods. You look able, so I'm willing to pay quite a bit. You'll get 690 crowns when the contract is done. I hate to say it, but we are in dire need of supplies. I don't suppose you could... Sure, I understand. It's 740 crowns when the contract is done. Sounds like we've got a deal. Have no fear, my friend. We will hunt down what terrorizes Helvik. My own employers have a vested interest in that sort of thing anyway, so this is an ideal arrangement. Assuming, we actually survive. So what have we got? Spiders? Direwolves? Direwolves it is, okay. Only 4, shouldn't be too tough. The raiders do not have to look for long. The beasts haunting Helvik find them first. Sprinting across the frosty fields, a small pack of direwolves approaches. And ever the glutton for punishment, Drakiith is the first to meet them. Though his blade swings wide, arrow pops off a quick shot, striking a shallow groove across one of the beast's shoulders. Then the rest of the raiders join the fray. Erie and Verdun on the north and south, shields at the ready. The rest of the raiders standing front and center as the beasts are funneled towards them. Rev strikes a glancing blow. Random another. The beast's bloodlust wavering neath a torrent of blows. Berlin takes his position on the south, shield raised and ready. Rook steps up. Another surgical strike pierces a beast's haunch, and the creature howls in dismay, its eyes furtively darting about in search of escape. The rest of the beasts, however, are not yet cowed, and their savagery is unleashed upon their would-be prey. The flanks hold strong. Shields turning aside, slashing claws. Annie, however, is not so fortunate. Blood fountaining from ragged wounds. Undeterred, Drakiith presses the assault. Striking once, twice, forcing the beast back and buying Annie reprieve. Thought I had bandages on Rook. Oh, there they are. Okay. Rev holds, waiting for an opening. Eerie turns back another beast on the north. Arrow lands another well-placed shot, then steps back, clearing room for Rev. Annie strikes the beast down. And then another. Jaw set, teeth clenched. A laborer with nothing left to lose. Which is slightly concerning, but I suppose serves the raiders well. And with one last swing, Random dispirits the final beast, giving Rev ample time to step down from his perch and staunch the torrent of blood gushing down Annie's arm. Meanwhile, the rest of the raiders go about their grim business. Blades flash, spears thrust. And the creatures that once sought to prey upon them now find themselves to be the prey. And just like that, the beasts are felled. The anatomists gleefully retrieve their tools and set about their gruesome but fruitful work, which nets us an unusually large wolf pelt and a potion of blade dancing. This humoral concoction, born from the research into the dreaded direwolf, will turn even the clumsiest oaf into a lithe dancer of a warrior, able to gracefully move with the tides of battle long after lesser men succumb to fatigue. Mild akathisia after consuming is normal and expected. Which is one of the more potent potions, reduces the fatigue cost by half for any missed attacks. That'll likely go to whoever ends up being our first great weapon wielder, especially if we can get our hands on a nice two-handed cleaver. But for now, we sit on it. I don't think we're apt to switch off to two-handers till we start hitting level 7. Gotta bank that nimble perk. Your employer, Adler the Guildmaster, might not believe what happened here without evidence. You order the men to begin taking pelts, trophies, scalps, whatever might show off your victory here. And be quick about it, lest all this blood draw even more dangerous things from these cursed woods. Adler the Guildmaster is feeding one of his dogs when you return. The mutt drops its bone to sniff at what you've brought. The man points at the pelt. What kind of foul thing is that? You shrug and toss it onto the table. The dog pokes its nose at one of the claws, growls, then begins to lick it. Adler the Guildmaster smiles briefly, but then goes to his bookshelf, picking up a wooden chest and handing it to you. 740 crowns, was it? You should know that you've brought peace to the people of Helvik. You nod. Does their happiness also come in crowns? Adler the Guildmaster frowns at your greedy humor. No, it does not. Have a good day, mercenary. Oh, come now, my friend. This world is full of terrible things. Sometimes you've got to laugh, otherwise you'll just end up crying. Alright, I think we're done here for now. Sadly, that combo of settlement modifiers will still result in some pretty piss-poor prices. But we will pop into the local tavern. As you wander the bar, mug in hand, you overhear a nearby conversation. I don't trust the militia here. One time, as a band of outlaws approached, they turned tail and ran for the hills without giving any fight. Okay, well, more just flavor than actual actionable intel, but good to know, I suppose. Let's knock out these level ups. One for Drakiith, who... Oh my goodness, Drakiith, buddy. Wow. Okay, I guess, given lack of any real good options here, we will... We'll take the 1-point bump on defense. And... Oh, gosh. I guess fatigue... And yeah, we'll take melee. I'm not sure you're going to last very long, Drak. Not if you keep rolling like that, but... Best of luck? Annie, though. That we can actually work with. We'll take the melee, we'll take the defense. And then we've got a couple of other pretty decent options here. Health and morale, we have need of both. But we are about to pick up Colossus, so that will help shore up health in the short term. So we'll take the 5 in morale. And then, yes. Colossus bumps us up to a respectable health. Still a ways to go there, though. Ultimately, we're aiming for 60 base, 75 post-Colossus. Preferably higher, but 60, I would say, is the bare minimum. Especially if we're going nimble. That said, we push on. And hope for better prices. Oh, gosh. Well, they are even worse off than Helvik was. My goodness. Oh, gosh, yeah. They don't even have tools to offer. And nothing all that notable for local hires. Which does make sense, given that they, too, are being preyed upon by local beasts. You come to Ragnar the Counselor, and your shadow alone startles the man. He sits up straight at his desk and nods. Ah, I got the fits. No mind to your being here, Sellsword, though you're scary enough. But word around these parts is that large spiders are afoot. I've reason to believe the stories, being that I'd gone to a farmstead and seen the large webbings and the devoured livestock. I need a man privy to absolute violence, speaking to you here. And I need such a man to find the nest of monsters and put them to an end. Are you interested? Well, given my employers, I would say very much yes. Let's talk crowns. He takes a deep breath. Very well. This is what I'm prepared to offer you. You'll be paid 320 crowns when the contract is done. Actually, make that 340 crowns. That'll do it, Ragnar. I'd say that's sufficient compensation to risk being stranded. Though I will say, webnects are deceptively dangerous at lower levels. They always come in greater numbers than you think you're walking into. So, woods around Damwald, that can't be too far. Oh, there we go. Let's pull these things out into the open. The nest of webnecks is a pit of earth wreathed in white. At its rim are thin filaments which list about at even the slightest suggestion of a breeze. Marching your company inward, the webbing begins to take a sort of civilized shape, as though you were walking in from a wintry hinterland, the recency of its creation apparent in its tight trappings. Deer, dogs, Man-sized cocoons would show no sign of life, all bound snug in the hangars of white silos and planes, like morsels lost upon a pale rug. A black shadow saunters up behind the veiled domicile, coming to the fore with its legs squatting defilade, its head crouched beyond them, as though the foul cretin were gated by its own stride. A human hand sucks in and out from its mandibles, like some macabre pacifier. You've come to the right place. Oh, good. Now the trick is just making sure we get back out alive. To those who are about to die, etc., etc. All it takes is a stray step upon an errant strand, a vibration sent up to the nest beyond. And suddenly, the slothful beast burst into a flurry of motion. Moving as one, the swarm of spiders approaches. Muscles tense, gaze unsteady, nerves wavering. The raiders steel themselves as their leader calls from the rear. Fall back, frame yourselves in the terrain. Seek shelter amidst the brush. And, as one, the raiders obey. Yeah, this'll help control how much they can surround us. Plus, give us a slight advantage with Revenant up on elevated terrain for slightly better hit chances. The biggest issue with Webnecked is not the ones that we're actually facing here. It's the ones that are apt to join in the turns to come. The battlefield is dotted with eggs, which will continue spitting out additional Webnecked over time. So it's very important to take steps to prevent being surrounded. Seeing their prey retreat, the skittering swarm instinctively follows, leaping across the gulf on 8 hairy legs. But the raiders are ready to meet them. Arrow takes aim. Impaling an arachnid's chitinous leg with a well-placed projectile. Drakiith lays into the wounded beast. A slash of his sword, and its sickly entrails spill across the grass. Rook takes careful aim, warfork poised, and he pierces a spider's foot, pinning it in place. Annie's flail whirls, bouncing off a bloated carapace with a resounding thwack. Eerie holds the north. Random bashes another creature's leg. And Revenant lunges over both flailmen, putting the pitiful creature out of its misery. Verlin shatters another leg, but finds himself in danger of being overwhelmed. And the raiders hold, poised for what's to come. Sticky strands of spider silk, each as thick as a man's pinky, festoon the raiders' front line. Mandibles are kept at bay, but movements are slowed. Defenses sluggish. Somewhere in the distance, the ominous crack of eggs. And yet the raiders fight on. A second strike from Rook, and another beast's bloated carapace splits. The spider's agonized death cries echoing across the plain. Annie, heedless of danger, leapfrogs one of the dog-sized spiders and smashes the joint of another. Random, seeing Rook imperiled, falls back to the rear. but his flail fails to find purchase. Spying a wounded beast on the north, Rev steps down from his perch, and with another precise strike, slays it. While Verlin continues to hold his own at bay. Another crack, another beast spawned. Rook is stranded. And Verdant, slowed by a sticky shroud, is pierced by venomous mandibles, grimacing as his muscles are set to spasming, fire pumping through his veins. Verdant's priority. Let's stay focused on this one. Their formation broken, the Raiders struggle to adapt to the rapidly shifting situation. Revenant pierces a beast's leg, which Annie then ruthlessly dispatches. Freed up on the north, the rest of the Raiders struggle to get themselves disentangled. Random lands his second strike with a sickly crack. An arrow lands another shot as well, aiming for the fleshy gaps between the chitinous joints. With some difficulty, Drakiith wrests himself free, and Eerie quickly follows suit. Verlin's struggles are less fruitful as the venom takes its unfortunate toll. Ooh. Verlin finds himself once again swarmed, but his shield holds strong. Rook, however, distracted by his plight, feels fangs sink into the back of his thigh. Veins are set alight, blood boiling within. An arrow swiftly turns, firing a shot directly into the face of the beast that just bit Rook. Only 2 beasts remain, and the Raiders quickly rush to swarm them. Though in the distance, the sound of additional skittering limbs draws ever closer. One of the spiderlings finally clicks from fight to flight, its eyes glittering as it seeks an avenue of escape. Rook strikes at another, tearing through its limb. As Verlin grimly batters it with his club. Though staggers, weary and woozy from his wounds. The keening wail of dying spiders permeates the air, stinging the ears, but sending the other freshly spawned spiderlings fleeing. As the last of their more foolish brethren fall. One beneath Annie's flail. And the last crushed neath Random's boot heel, as he gleefully squelches it underfoot. Whew, got a bit tight there. Verdant was in real trouble there for a second. But it's over. With a bevy of level ups to boot. Not to mention, of course, another peculiar potion. I will say, though, things did definitely get a bit hairy there. Hairier than I would have liked. Though in this case, I don't know if we really made any clear missteps. It was more just, the peril of facing webnecked at such a low level. At later levels, it's less of a concern because, at that point you can fell them with much greater ease. Venom Blood Potion. As any experienced beast hunter could tell you, what makes the overgrown arachnids known as webnecks truly fearsome is their vicious poison. Well, no longer. Whoever drinks this potion need not fear the creature's venom again. Very situational, really only comes up with spiders and goblins as it cites here. But still, not bad for like a shieldman perhaps. Someone deliberately meant to draw them off everyone else, so the poison doesn't get out of hand. Or perhaps for a frontline alpha striker, so the goblin poison doesn't slow them down. Not sure who that one will go to, but I'm not terribly particular. Probably just whoever gets injured next. The last of the webnecked is dealt with, its legs gating itself as though to eternally clutch at the weapon which had slain it. You nod at the company's good work, then order the whole place torched. Fires rapidly run the lengths of the webs, breaking bridges of filament apart and sending fiery doom to their connectors. The whole nest is consumed in the inferno, and somewhere deep in its bedding, you hear the shrill cry of spiderlings set alight. Well, good. I'm glad. Let's get back to Damwald. Collect our pay, and this should... Oh, well, we just got hit with payday, so maybe not. Ragnar the Counselor welcomes you back with a great clap and rub of his hands, as though you just brought in a turkey, and not horrifying evidence of your victory. After paying you the agreed reward, you hear some surprising news. The mayor states that the estates of a lost townsman could not be properly divided up, and, as further thanks, you're free to take what's left of it. Oh, nice. Okay, I mean, obviously not much. I think that's like, 20 extra crowns and some roots and berries? We'll take it. And check local prices. Right. Well, still pretty rough, and even if they weren't, they don't have tools anyway. Though, actually, now that I think about it, let's go ahead and unload this lumber. Not the necklace, though. That's below base. Not sure about the weapons. Those might be better for the keep over yonder. The important thing, though, is that short term, that pushes us over $2,000, which will trigger our rep quest and get us that new banner. We'll hold off on the taxidermist. We can't spare the coin. Ooh. You also here to look for the heritage ward like all those other fools? It's said to lie somewhere in the hills west. Nothing but hogwash, if you ask me. Named shield out west. Noted. No one likes a skinflint, least of all a group of wandering, bloodthirsty rabble, motivated primarily by a love of coin, and creature-based curio. Not everyone, or more precisely, no one, was thrilled when you suggested cutting back on spending to save up for a company standard. Once the RetconRaider standard is finally paid for and hoisted for the first time, to proudly snap in a fresh dawn breeze, however, no one claims it wasn't worth it. The men are proud of their new standard, even tossing around names for it, though none of them really stick. It's clear for everyone to see now, this is not some band of hired thugs. This is becoming a true mercenary company. Who should have the honor of carrying the standard? I mean, no real question there, that goes straight to Rook. That is a unique pike. A step up from his current Warfork, I think. Plus, of course, it allows him to share his superior resolve with other nearby allies. And of course, it also counts as an actual polearm, which will be important once we pick up Polearm Specialist. He'll pass his Warfork off to Rev, though long-term we'll want to find something better. something which does qualify as a polearm, so I guess a brush hook or pike as well, since we'll also want him ready to bear the standard when need be. And then we've got our level ups, so let's run through those real quick. Random hits level 4, get some halfway decent rolls this time. Though not great on the secondaries, so you know what? I don't plan on stacking range defense much, but let's at least offset that malice from being a wild man. And then of course, we'll also grab gifted. Shore up those stats even more. That'll be melee, melee defense. And let's say... Let's say... fatigue. Defense is still lower than I'd like, but we might risk making him into a two-hander once he's gone nimble. And then for Rook, no real question here, we get the usual trifecta. Melee, melee defense, and then morale. Though again, still need to make sure we bump up that health, at least to base 60. He gets gifted as well. So, you know, this time we will go ahead and bump health. We'll grab melee defense, we'll grab morale. Can I really justify taking health over melee skill? For a Bannerman, survivability does seem pretty important. Yeah, we'll go health. We'll get him to base 60. That'll be 75 post-Colossus. And Arrow, who, having finally had some time to practice with his bow, becomes an even greater marksman, rounds out his health, bolsters his morale, then grabs Gifted, which further bolsters his aim, his morale, and I guess for emergency situations we should probably grab that defense, though as a pure archer we are going to be picking up Overwhelm and Fearsome, so initiative might not be a bad idea. Yeah, I think ultimately I'd like all our range guys to be about 120, all of our non-ranged about 100 after armor. Paired with Relentless or Recover, that'll keep dodge viable through most fights. Plus, you know, give us options where Overwhelm and Fearsome are concerned. And with that, I think we're at a good place to call it. Another fine day's work, Raiders. Things are coming along. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked no one's died yet, though we certainly did have some close calls there, especially with Revenant and that Reaver. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I'll take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping, and we'll pick up here next time as we set our sights on Oberberg. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Erie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.